Ladies and gentlemen, it's Rigathi Gachagua. The Deputy President, Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto, has finally settled on the Madeira Member of Parliament as his running mate for the August general election. Yesterday, both Rigathi Gachagua and Professor Kithure Kindiki stormed out of a current meeting where the Deputy President was expected to make the announcement. The Deputy President had initially settled on Professor Kithure Kindiki as his running mate. But things changed yesterday in Karen, and as a matter of fact, things didn't change yesterday. Things started changing immediately. The content of the coalition arrangement, Kenya Kwanza coalition arrangement or agreement, were leaked to the public. And the Kikuyu nation were actually rebelling. And because William Ruto required numbers, he had to go back to the drawing board. And that's how Rigathi Gachagua came back into the picture. So finally, the DP has now named his running mate. Raila Odinga will name his running mate tomorrow. And I can assure you that that running mate is going to be a woman. So let us wait for tomorrow. But why do you think the Deputy President finally settled on Rigathi Gachagua over Professor Kithure Kindiki? Why do you think he settled on him? Because if you look at Kithure Kindiki and William Ruto, Kithure Kindiki would have made the best running mate for William Ruto. Number one, if you look at the personality of Ruto and that of Rigathi Gachagua, both of them are temperamental. They are forceful. Professor Kithure Kindiki is totally opposite. So which means if we were going to have a forceful president, then Kindiki was going to come as the cooling guy. But the Deputy President has chosen almost a similar character. And this was demonstrated yesterday. The moment Ruto failed to name Rigathi Gachagua, there were demonstrations organized in the entire Mount Kenya region. Number two, if you look at the character of Professor Kithure Kindiki, that of Ruto and that of Rigathi, they are also completely different in terms of credibility or integrity. Ruto and Rigathi are perceived to be corrupt. I don't know whether you can pin Professor Kithure Kindiki with any corruption scandal in this country. So it means Kindiki would have complimented William Ruto in that particular aspect. Then if you look again at the two or the three, you realize that Professor Kithure Kindiki is kind of a man who is more of a reformist. While Ruto and Gachagua were part and parcel of the KANU regime. Kindiki was a DO, Ruto was actually a member of the dreaded Youths for KANU. So Professor Kithure Kindiki was going to complement that. Then you can go on and go on and go on. But the Deputy President decided on Rigathi Gachagua. Why do you think he decided not to trust Professor Kithure Kindiki? Because originally it was perceived that William Ruto had penetrated the larger Mount Kenya region to an extent that even if he were to go out and choose, say Musalia Mudavadi or even Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, the Kikuyu nation was still going to vote for him. Why do you think he had to make that change? Because if anything, Professor Kithure Kindiki comes from the mountain, and as much as he's not a Kikuyu, he's part and parcel of the mountain. And the Mount Kenya West were very optimistic of Professor Kithure Kindiki. But now, that's now water under the bridge. So the question is, why do you think William Ruto settled on Rigathi and not Kindiki? In this video, I want us to look at the main reasons. Before we do that, in case you are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button, so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue. Thank you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Now, Professor Kithure Kindiki was actually missing when Rigathi Gachagua was being unveiled. And already in Tharaka Nithi, the residents there are expressing their bitterness and disappointment.
Kwa nini tunasema hivyo? Kitu ya kwanza, wacha tuongee ukweli. Kwa nini tunasema hivyo? Ile wakati mwingine hao watu wa Jubilee tulikopatia na nteneni kura. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ni kweli watu wa Tharaka Nithi County. Hapa tukakuja tukanyang'anya mtoto wetu akaenda huko juu. Na tulinyang'anya na huyu mtoto tulikuwa ama si kweli? Akaenda akapenjana akapita kura za maoni.
Okay. So we're gonna hear some of the sentiments, and let me just bring in, of course, not a very happy lot here in Tharaka Nithi, lakini tutueleze tu munahisiaje kuhusu kuchaguliwa kwa naibu rais katika mrengo wa Kenya Kwanza ambaye amechaguliwa kuwa Rigathi. Mnajisikiaje?
Kwa kweli, kwanza kabisa mimi naitwa Kudengi hapa Kadhwana Tharaka Nithi. Kwa kweli tunasema hata Ruto mwenyewe anajua benye Tharaka Nithi tulipeana percentage kubwa ya kura wakati ule mwingine.
But William Ruto will have to navigate Tharaka Nithi, Meru and those other regions. There were celebrations in Nyeri. Which is good for the DP because William Ruto requires numbers. If you look at the numbers, Tharaka Nithi is hardly 300,000 votes. Rigathi Gachagua can deliver more than Professor Kithure Kindiki as far as the Mount Kenya politics is concerned. But Rigathi Gachagua is not really a darling beyond the mountain. The truth of the matter is that you give Rigathi Gachagua a microphone in Nyeri, Kiambu, Tharaka Nithi, those places, he will excite the crowd. You give him the microphone in Rift Valley, he will excite the crowd. But give Rigathi Gachagua the microphone in Western Kenya, he will lack what to tell them. You give him microphone in Ukambani, the same. So Rigathi Gachagua has a lot of weaknesses and he also has a lot of strengths. But why do you think Ruto settled on him? Number one is the Kikuyu voting bloc. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto understands one thing, that for him to become the next president of the Republic of Kenya, the mountain must vote for him. Almost in a similar fashion, they voted for President Uhuru Kenyatta. The person who can deliver the mountain votes is none other than, in my view, Rigathi Gachagua. And that's why William Ruto settled on him. If William Ruto decided to go for Professor Kithure Kindiki, just assume, and also assume that Rigathi Gachagua was not appointed, do you think he would have attended this press conference? He would not have attended this press conference. Rigathi Gachagua would have organized massive demonstrations against the deputy president in the larger Mount Kenya region. And that would be bad for him. What we are witnessing in Tharaka Nithi is basically just a group of people who are disappointed. Professor Kithure Kindiki has not organized anything. His personality cannot allow him to organize that. The only thing is, still waters like Kindiki normally runs very deep. But William Ruto has settled on Rigathi Gachagua because Raila Odinga is going to appoint someone else, Martha Karua, from the Kikuyu nation. So if you had Professor Kithure Kindiki there, it means you are going to allow Martha Karua to walk freely in the Kikuyu nation. That's number one. Number two, I think William Ruto is also looking at the dynasty and the hustler narrative. You know, if you look at the history of Professor Kithure Kindiki, the family is kind of a dynasty in down there. If you look at Rigathi Gachagua, his family is not on. He was a personal assistant to Uhuru Kenyatta. You know, Uhuru Kenyatta was the KANU presidential candidate. He was his peer. When Uhuru Kenyatta became the president, Rigathi Gachagua was his peer. So means Uhuru was a dynasty, Rigathi was the hustler there. Ruto is fashioning his campaigns around the hustler narrative. So Rigathi Gachagua fits this so well, so that he's going to break away the dynasty narrative, so that their campaign will be pegged on the hustlers, that the two guys are hustlers. And if you go to the dictionary and you look at the meaning of the hustlers are people who are kind of succeeding, but in a funny way, in a more corrupt way. So they are giving the true meaning of hustler. So the hustler narrative is now going to be more entrenched in the Kenya Kwanza campaigns. I don't know how Mudavadi will fit in, but that's how I'm looking at it. Number 3, I think William Ruto has also figured out that for him to succeed, he needed the KANU face to his campaign. You know, KANU managed to outwit the opposition in 1992 and 1997, despite the fact that they lost. You see, a combined force of opposition had over 60% of the vote, but Moi still managed to win. Rigathi Gachagua at that time was a DO overseeing the activities of KANU. So I think there's something they learned during KANU, and that is what they want to bring. Otherwise, if you ask me, Ruto would have gone for someone else who is Kindiki, because Raila is kind of a reformist. You can agree or disagree. Martha Karua is also bringing that reform agenda to the table, but Ruto is going for a non-KANU operative during those times. When people were being massacred in Molo, Rigathi Gachagua was the guy overseeing. So those are some of the issues, but I think there is something about KANU. As a member of, as a former DO, it means he can be able to mobilize. He understands Rift Valley politics. He understands Uhuru Kenyatta's politics. Rigathi Gachagua understands Moi's politics. He, you know, just having been part of KANU. And number 4, I think there's also the interest of the Kikuyu nation. You see, when the draft, the coalition arrangement leaked out, when it leaked out, it became very clear that the interests of the Kikuyu nation were not well catered for in that agreement. The person who drafted the agreement is none other than Professor Kithure Kindiki. So the Kikuyu nation started questioning so many things. Because of course they had stated that for them they don't care about positions. They cared about one man, one vote, one shilling. That was not on paper. In fact, if you listen to the deputy president today, he appointed Moses Kuria to head his economic something. Why? Because Moses Kuria was raising some of these issues, including even today. And you also know the relationship between Moses Kuria and Rigathi Gachagua. So Rigathi Gachagua is the guy who can take care of the Kikuyu nation, according to William Ruto. If you look at the personality of Professor Kithure Kindiki and that of Rigathi Gachagua, in terms of the Kikuyu or the Mount Kenya interest, who can take care of the interest? Rigathi Gachagua. Why? Because of his foul mouth. He's a guy who can say whatever he wants, and I mean, he won't care. Now that he's going to be a running mate, probably someone is going to start managing him. But again, managing him would mean you are going to get away with his true character, which made those who believe in him support him. And number 5, Rigathi Gachagua has the money. Campaigns are some of the most expensive ventures in this country. William Ruto also has the money. And if you combine if they combine the forces, their money will be enough to run the campaign. Professor Kithure Kindiki's pocket is like a church mouse. Church mouse has nothing. Yeah, so Rigathi Gachagua can actually make things move. And that's the kind of a person William Ruto would need. Because William Ruto has been sponsoring other guys. In fact, you can claim that the emergence of Rigathi Gachagua can be attributed to his deep pockets. He has the money. The government has tried freezing his accounts. They can't. It's just a guy who operated a kind of a mafia, who was part and parcel of KANU. So he understands so many things. Uhuru cannot stop him as a president. Nobody can stop him. He's fearless, and he has the money. So that money is what projected him to where he is today. And lastly, let us face it. William Ruto would not want a situation where the next deputy president of the Republic of Kenya would be another William Ruto. He would not. William Ruto would not want a deputy president who is ambitious. The truth of the matter, I don't think Rigathi Gachagua, in his wildest imagination, when he joined politics in 2017, thought that he was going to be William Ruto's running mate in 2022. I don't think that Rigathi Gachagua would go into this election with the demands that William Ruto must announce to the world that he's going to support him for the presidency. I don't think so. He would be contented. If William Ruto wins the presidency and Rigathi Gachagua becomes the deputy president, he would be contented with that. So he will allow William Ruto to run. So basically, William Ruto would not have allowed someone like Professor Kithure Kindiki to be his running mate, because Professor Kithure Kindiki can be ambitious. He's smooth, slow, but very sure. He can be ambitious. Moses Kuria can be ambitious, so would give him problem. Mwangi Kiunjuri can be ambitious, would give him problem. You go to Kirinyaga women representative, another ambitious lady, would not want him, would not want her anyway, because this is a person who would start showing interest in the presidency beyond 2017. I mean, beyond 2022. So for those reasons, William Ruto had to settle on Rigathi Gachagua. I want to tell Professor Kithure Kindiki, he can go back to the class. Politics is not his portion, because this is a gentleman who was planning to run for the gubernatorial seat there. He was convinced, don't run. This is a man who drafted the coalition agreement in the hope that he was going to be the DP. It's not going to happen. This is a man, I don't know, he cannot be promised the Speaker of the Senate. He cannot be promised the Speaker of the National Assembly. I don't know what he can be promised. Thank you guys. Until next time, Lee Makwiny.